Hello everyone, and welcome to another Warhammer battle. This time the forces of the Empire face off against the Greenskins led by Gagan on the Lost Crater battle map. So let's get right into it. As we can see, on our side we have Franz equipped with Deathclaw, the Reichland Runefang, as well as Galmaraz. Very standard Franz loadout, completely kitted out. All the weapons, this guy is a beast. He can take down large threats, he can take down giants, he can fight trolls, and he's good at working as a flying character assassinator. So he can come in, pop all his buffs, as well as support his troops. So anywhere on the battle line, you can bring Carl, and he will lead them to victory. I'm going to pause this because the action starts off pretty quick. We have also brought the Steam Tank. This thing is a beast. I love it in the Greenskins matchup. It causes terror, has a very powerful cannon shot that it does, as well as a steam shot from close range, and has very good weapon strength as well at 200 there, which is mostly armor piercing here. Yeah, 140 armor piercing, 60 regular damage with an 18 bonus versus infantry. So this thing can just work as like kind of a pseudo lawnmower, kind of like a slow chariot. It can just plow into enemy infantry lines, run through and pop out at the other side and move on to more. For the rest of our build, we also have a Jade Wizard here, mostly just here to support our troops with the regrowth, life bloom, so that he heals the whole our whole army every time he casts. Awakening of the Wood, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Earthblood, Awakening the Wood, and regrowth. I want to try Awakening of the Wood because it does slow down the enemy as well as does some decent AoE damage, and it's pretty cheap, so I thought we might be able to get some use out of it. Our front line is entirely just spearmen with shields, since I like the extra defense that they get. 43 melee defense with 1 chevron is pretty solid. They come with a base of 42, so these guys, they will last for a very long time. So we got 4 of those up in the front lines, as well as 2 great swords to give us 2 heavy-hitting anti-infantry infantry. Of course, they come in with the bonus versus infantry, 32 weapon strength, mostly armor piercing, and high armor of 95. These guys are very solid. In the back line, just to defend our units here, we have the Royal Altdorf Graphites in their resplendent armor. I just love the color scheme on these guys, and they are beasts. These guys will carry you to victory again and again, as long as you can keep them healthy. So a unit of them, and those aren't the only cavalry we brought. We also have a few units of Pistoliers. 3 of them, in fact, just on the right flank here. Taking the high ground position, they'll go ahead and skirmish with the enemy. There's not too much armored stuff that the Greenskins can bring outside of like Black Orcs and the Rogans, so they can do some very solid damage as well as contest with Spider Riders, which our enemy has brought 4 of: Spider Rider Archers and Goblin Wolf Riders, so very fast, poison-wielding skirmishers here, good at harassing me. If I had cannons, they could easily just go into the back line, but I don't really have that many weak targets or soft targets that they can really exploit. I mean, they can pop shots at Franz all day and skirmish with the Demigryph Knights, but all our stuff is very armored. Now, the other thing my opponent has brought here, he has 2 Night Goblin Shamans with only Vindictive Glare, and then the Wand of Jet here. And they're going to be casting that spell many times over the course of this battle. I'm going to add like a little counter to the top of the screen that just counts how many times that goes off. He's also got Orc Boys in his front line, Orc Error Boys to Rusty Errors, as well as a Doom Diver Catapult. I'm not a big fan of this thing. I mean, it's going to hit and it lands pretty frequently, but I think its damage leaves a bit to be desired. He's also got Stone Trolls backed up with the Night Goblins over here. And he also has Grom the Paunch as his leader, so he's going to be coming in with his chariot, being, regenerating. He's going to be a real nuisance. He's very good at killing our infantry, so if he can get in and start working on our battle lines, we won't have too much to deal with him. And he also has the Arachnarok Spider, so a very good anti-large spider. This thing can actually fight back against Franz. It can fight Demigryph Knights, it can fight Reiksguard. Very, very good, and I think it causes terror. Is that what that is? Yeah, it does cause terror, so it can cause the front line to buckle. Anyway, let's go ahead and start the battle. I'm immediately going to pop off a few shots at the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, but then I see that Grom is on the field, and he takes a big hit there, doing about 400 damage. So very good stuff so far. Carl's going to come in, see if he can get any picks. And there's the first of the Vindictive Glares, and then the second one actually overcasted, so it hurt himself. So that's one cast so far. He's aiming for my Jade Wizard with that, and I managed to juke most of it. Looks like the other spell didn't even go off there. I think he forgot about it. So very good stuff for me there. He is hitting Carl, though. I think that Vindictive Glare did actually hit him. Or is that a Doom Diver? I'm not really 100% sure. But the Outriders are just going to be doing their thing over here. Just skirmishing with the Wolf Rider Archers. They can do fairly well. Bullets do travel faster than arrows, so I'm just happy to let these guys kind of distract their attention. While the Steam Tank continues to fire on Grom, getting some very good damage, about 300 to 400 damage every shot that it lands. However, the Doom Divers are hitting it and doing some solid damage. So at this point, I see a very juicy engagement here. I can charge in with the Pistoliers. Normally you don't want to do this, but with Carl coming in and some Spearmen with Shield, we're able to get a very good engagement, just taking these guys out, making them rout, and we're just going to chase and keep the pressure on them. Carl manages to kill, I think, like 8 whole Wolf Riders here, just die in one fell swoop on his charge there, so very good stuff. Here comes another Vindictive Glare, aiming for my Wizard, but we're going to try to dodge it. We take that one pretty bad. I think that's, what, 3 now? I'll review the footage later. I think here comes a 4th one. We managed to dodge it, kind of. Yeah, only one projectile hits us for about 100 damage. So far I think that's like 4 shots so far that we've managed to evade. It's a very cheap loadout. These goblins with just that spell and the Forbidden Rod come out at about 400 gold each, so it's pretty cost efficient. Here we're just going to engage with all the cavalry. They're just Pistoliers, but with the Reichland Runefang active, they do go up to 44 melee attack, and with Carl supporting them, they will be able to beat these Orc Boys. Although they will take some damage themselves, Orc Boys getting some kills. You know, the Steam Tank still just shooting, aiming for Grom. And Trolls come in, and at this point I decide, okay, I need to retreat. I can't let my Pistoliers engage with Stone Trolls. They're going to get completely destroyed. Carl's buffs are down. Here I cast Awakening of the Wood, but it doesn't actually do that much damage. About 1,000. But doesn't kill any models there, so I wasn't too thrilled with that result. But here comes another Vindictive Glare. Again, just not doing that much damage all in all at the end of the day. Here I do cast Earthblood to keep this front line engaged, and Carl is going to come down again, looking for a spot to land. I think he's going to go for these Orc Boys. No, he's going to go straight for the Doom Divers and shut them down before they can do too much damage. Probably shouldn't have engaged the Pistoliers in that fight. They probably could have kept skirmishing. So they're going to get routed off of the battlefield. And I think there was another Vindictive Glare there that went in. Either that or a Doom Diver. Grom is just kind of going for a wide flank. I think he needs to get in. He's kind of circling too much and being too defensive. He's really trying to kill this Jade Wizard. Hither Carl finally lands on the, what do you call this? The Doom Diver finally takes it out. And where are the Demigryph Knights? I know they're looking for an engagement somewhere. Yep, here they go right down the middle. Charging right into the Rusty Arrows, terrifying them, and now they are free to get into the proverbial cookie jar that is my opponent's back line. So they're going to run in, go straight for Wolf Rider Archers, rout them off. They're very good at fighting large targets like this. Carl's going to go in the back line, kind of help his state troops here, charging against Orc Boys, as another Vindictive Glare only does about another 100 damage. I'm not really sure why so many projectiles were missing. It could be that the Jade Wizard's just on foot. But he's going to send in Grom as the Altdorf Graphites to keep charging into Spider Riders. Grom misses his charge on the Jade Wizard, so great stuff here. Although he does make contact right here. But I see that he's over here. I've got some state troops around, and I've got the Griffins around. So Carl's going to keep chasing Grom, get him out of here. He has all of his buffs up, 128 melee attack, 840 weapon strength. But I feel confident in my ability to fight him here. The wall is active, but our troops are fighting. Spearman just pushing up. Steam Tank's going to do some damage to the Arachnarok Spider here. I think getting some very good value so far. 1,300, you know, it's almost paid for itself. It's worth 2,000 gold. Grom's going to come in here. We shoot a point-blank shot at him as he tries to engage the Steam Tank, but the Demigryph Knights are hot on his tail, and look at his health just disappear now. Going down 2,000 health. He's surrounded. Carl's on him. The Arachnarok Spider does come in, but it's a little bit too late. Although a cannonball shot does kill a few of these Graphites, but they are buffed by Carl, and now we're going to collapse in on this Arachnarok Spider. As our Jade Wizard just keeps tossing out heals, and here comes another Vindictive Glare there, so that's... I have lost count at this point. I'm going to have to rewatch the battle replay and just watch out for those to see how many actually go off. But yeah, at this point, most of his line is buckling. He does have the Ragnarok Spider here, and he's got some Orc Boys in the middle, causing some of my Spearmen to rout. But he does have Grom, so if he can get Grom in here and the Stone Trolls, he can certainly rout off more of my forces, as Great Swords are engaged on the Goblin Shaman over here. He is not having a good time. He is not meant to fight guys like this. Stone Troll's going to come in, Spearmen coming in to intercept here, and they're just going to bulldoze over them like a bowling balls or bowling pins. Over here, though, we're going to keep chasing the Ragnarok Spider with our Altdorf Graphites. Hopefully get that off of the field. I know that if I can get rid of that, we're going to be looking very good. If we can get rid of that, he doesn't have that many tools to deal with the rest of my army. I mean, he's got Grom, and he's, again, going for this Life Wizard, which I don't think is the right play here. I mean, he invested so much of his resources into killing this guy, and he's just not making good targets. So I think at that point, he needs to work on maybe taking out the state troops with Grom and using him to his anti-infantry capabilities. Here comes another Vindictive Glare. Hits Carl there, doing okay damage. But all in all, at this point, his line is going to buckle as the Ragnarok Spider does shatter, Grom shatters, and then the rest of his line buckles right after. So good game to Gagan. My opponent here, he does have some Night Goblins that will fight to the death, but he does go ahead and throw in the towel there. So all in all, good stuff. I think if he... I mean, the RNG was not in his favor. He certainly did not make good contact with those Night Goblin Shamans. I mean, they did pay for themselves. They're coming in at about 400 gold, so them making about 200 gold each. But Grom the Paunch only getting 691 damage value in. He should have had him running through my infantry lines. He would have wrecked the Great Swords. Even the Spearmen, which aren't the biggest threat. The Spearmen are just there to soak damage, but he could have done a lot, especially to those Great Swords who were completely healthy coming into the late game. So I would have used Grom a little better against the infantry. If it wasn't working out with the Shamans, I wouldn't have even worried. I mean, the Lifecaster is going to heal, but you can oftentimes just kind of out-damage the heals that he throws out and kind of ignore him. When you invest so much into him, and then he still is getting his heals off, at some point you got to realize, okay, let's deal with the army, let's kill models, and then go for the caster. Spider Riders, I think, were a good pick. I did catch the Wolves, though, pretty early on, but they are cheap, so it's not the biggest loss to him. And I did bring an army that wasn't particularly weak to any archers. He may have expected more artillery, and these guys are very good for shutting down artillery as well as skirmishers, which I did not bring much of. Just the pistolers who didn't quite pay for themselves. I did throw them onto Orc Boys, and then Trolls got into their line, so not too great. But the Demigryph Knights here, it's 1900 gold. They paid for themselves. They did very well and were healthy into the late game. They were free just to go wherever they want. I think I would have maybe recommended, I mean, Grom the Paunch is a good pick. I think maybe just having one Night Goblin Shaman, giving him a few more spells, and then maybe taking like a Black Orc Big Boss, just something else that can buckle the line, tangle with the Graphites, or tangle with Carl, or even a Black Orc Big Boss on his mount could go in, attack the Jade Wizard. So maybe let's go in and look at what else he could have done there. If we go to battles and custom battles here. Let's pick the Greenskins. Where are they? Down here. So yeah, we have Grom, we have the Night Goblin Shaman, but you can take this Black Orc Big Boss, and if you put him on the Warboar, he comes in 110 armor, 390 weapon strength, mostly armor piercing there, 65 charge, and he is immune to psychology, which means he gives that buff to his allies around him, so he can stop the Steam Tank Terror, the Demigryph Terror. And he does come with Heroic Killing Blow, so we can boost his damage even higher, probably boost it to, what, 600-ish? Just about that range. You'd get, what, 60 on base damage, so 160 there, and then another 135 on armor piercing. So yeah, just about 600 weapon strength. He could come in, one charge, and then a few melee strikes would certainly kill a wizard. Or if you don't want to go with that, you can go with the Goblin Big Boss here. I personally like the Spider with him because it does imbue him with poison. And even then, he's still got good melee stats, and he does come with, what is it? He has an ability here. Yeah, they need stabbing, removes armor and melee defense from an enemy hero. So you can take this guy, he's super cheap. Like, this is only 655 gold with this, without even factoring in his items. Let's take Sword of Anti-Heroes anyway, just to boost his damage even more. 804 compared to an Empire Wizard. It's your Jade Wizard with the same kit that I had, so we had Regrowth, as well as these three spells, and I think I brought Power Stone. So about the same cost there, 771 to 804. Again, you can cut the Sword of Anti-Heroes there and just have him kitted like this, and he will beat a wizard. Like, the wizard's not going to be able to beat him in melee there. Of course, Wizard, way less stats overall. That's something else that you can do. I think for the rest of his line, the rest of his army was okay. Maybe bring in some Orc Boarboy Biggins, so that way they can just charge into Demigryph Knights. They do have a 50 charge bonus and high weapon strength with bonus versus large, so if they charge straight into Demigryphs, they will do a lot of damage. They might not necessarily win, but they can certainly put a pounding on, and if you want to boost that even more, go for the Savage Orc Boarboy Biggins. That is a mouthful to say. But overall, good game to my opponent, and yeah, guys, looking forward to the next one.